With 2020 literally just around the corner, I wanted to talk about why I think it's going to be one of the biggest years for Tesla ever. This company's growing really fast, and 2020 has the potential to be a major change in their history. So, why is this going to be such a big deal? Well, the why, of course. For one, we know that's coming. At this point, it's an open secret that it's basically way ahead of schedule. Not even summer, we're talking even sooner than summer of 2020, because we're seeing more and more Model Y spotted on the street every single day. And no, they're not all just the same Model Y that some engineer happens to have. We're seeing multiple different color options at different parts of the country. We even saw a tow hitch version of the Model Y. We're seeing them at superchargers, so we know that Tesla's employees are already using them. And to give you guys some perspective, back when the Model 3 was originally first being spotted before official customer deliveries were beginning, that was about 6 months before the actual first deliveries started rolling out. The first Model Y was spotted back in October, which, if the timeline ends up being about that correct, there's a good chance that the Model Y first deliveries could be near the end of Q1, maybe the very start of Q2, but a lot of people are suggesting that due to the sheer number of Model Ys being spotted, it's probably going to be somewhere in Q1 of 2020, which is vastly ahead of schedule, hopefully breaking that Elon time stigma. And also the SUV, crossover segment of the market is extremely popular. These types of vehicles sell really well. Those that have lots of storage space, they're 4 doors, they sit higher off the ground, but they also have really great performance, is why Tesla is expecting the Model Y to sell incredibly well, potentially outselling the Model 3, S, and X combined. I'm not sure about that, because I think part of it may end up cannibalizing the sales of the Model 3 once the Model Y production ramps and they're actually available to deliver fairly quickly. But yeah, you can expect for the first half of 2020, even though some customers may be getting their Model Y delivered, you're not going to be able to get one within, a 2-week delivery period for many months, because they're going to be delivering on all these reservations that people originally put down, and then try to keep up with the actual incoming reservations that will likely happen then after. The other big reason 2020 should be a huge year for Tesla is now that the Shanghai factory is up and running, we finally get to see some actual quantities delivered from that Chinese factory, and that should drastically increase the number of Model 3s delivered across the globe. So now the Fremont factory doesn't have to worry so much about getting Teslas out for the Chinese market. They're very highly in demand there. That's a much larger market than the United States, and shipping them there was just so dang expensive. Now that we're going to have an entire year of that Gigafactory 3 producing vehicles, we should see overall deliveries skyrocket, probably at the beginning of Q1 2020 as well. We also, of course, have Battery and Powertrain Investor Day, where Tesla will be talking about likely some advancements they've made in their battery technology in the Teslas that could potentially allow for that 1 million mile battery that has been rumored for years now, but should allow the Tesla to be driven down to a couple percent, recharged again, and do that loop over and over again without much degradation at all, which could make a lot of people more on board with buying a Tesla, knowing that they would not have to replace the battery pack for potentially 1 million miles of the car actually being driven. Probably would mean that most people who end up buying a Tesla would never have to replace the battery pack, because the battery will survive the life of the car. Not to mention, there's already some reports that the Model 3 could be getting a ludicrous mode support, given Model S is getting plaid, so, why can't everything get an upgrade as well? There's some hints in the code that there could be a 100 kilowatt hour Model 3 coming to production later. That's still speculative, that's not confirmed at this point, but given the long range Model 3 has around a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, up from the standard range plus, which has a 50 kilowatt hour, that could potentially mean that this updated Model 3 we end up seeing maybe nearing a range of 400 miles, but yeah, you'll be paying for it. It won't be that cheap. But with the Model S and Model X likely increasing in price because they're going to have a triple motor system and this plaid mode support that we originally heard about on the Tesla Roadster, it would make sense that the Model 3 Performance Edition would also get a price increase with also a performance increase. That way, no demographic is feeling that left out. But speaking of the Tesla Roadster, I know that's a very sought after topic. I think there's still a really good chance that the Roadster could end up coming at the end of 2020, which is when Tesla will re-enter the extreme supercar demographic, because for the longest time, they've just really been working on sedans and crossovers, because those are for the mainstream, those are for the masses, and that's kind of their bread and butter. That's where most of their money is made. So sadly, that 2-door sports car demographic, they've kind of had to neglect and put on the back burner for a long time, because it's just not really going to make them that much. But once the production Roadster and that SpaceX package actually starts delivering, which I think could happen in the last month of 2020, that's when we'll see Tesla re-entering that space, and a lot of media attention and coverage will come to the extreme performance of that vehicle, especially when it comes to its range, its top speed, its 0 to 60. Like, a ton of companies are going to be hovering over that car, and it's going to get a lot of media attention, which will be free advertisement for Tesla, and of course letting those supercar companies know, hey, we're coming and we're not joking. So this is actually a first for Tesla. For those who don't really know, while Tesla may unveil several vehicles in a year, they've never actually delivered 2 brand new vehicles on the road within a single year. You know, back in 2016, we got the first deliveries of the Model X. In 2017, we got the first deliveries of the Model 3. And since then, other than, you know, employees testing out vehicles, there has not been another brand new Tesla vehicle on the road. It's still very easy to look at Tesla as kind of this California, Silicon Valley startup when there's pretty much only 3 vehicles on the road that are still in production today that are made by this company. You know, there's not much diversity in the lineup for what you can actually drive on the road and start seeing pass by you. I know there's the original Tesla Roadster, but those are so incredibly rare that I don't necessarily count them because they were kind of a one-off. Tesla didn't even really design the exterior, and they're not in production anymore. So that's why I refer to the Model 3, the Model S, and the Model X as, you know, the main ones. Those are cars that are still in production and that you're likely to see as you go by on the road. So the fact that by the end of 2020, there's a chance you will see a Model Y, which will be their 4th vehicle now on the road that is still in production, as well as a 5th, the new Tesla Roadster. While it is highly unlikely you will see one driving on the road, it is possible that a non-employee will be driving one around this time next year. But also, that's not all. It actually gets a bit more interesting because the Tesla Semi is slated for limited production. I know it's not full-on mainstream production yet because probably they take so many batteries, but there's a good chance that some of these early production models you will start seeing on the road by the end of this year, which I think it's pretty likely Tesla is going to start using the semis as Model 3 and Model Y delivery vehicles at first. You know, it's always embarrassing when you drive around the Bay Area and you see lots of Teslas being hauled by these giant diesel trucks because that's pretty much at this point the only way to transport them. But to kind of get down the battery efficiency and kind of work out the kinks, it's likely that Tesla will use the semi-truck first, taking some of those original production models off the fleet so that they can transport their own Teslas, see how they're doing, and if they're actually hitting the marks that they originally promised back in 2017, that's when they'll likely start doing commercial semi-truck deliveries for everybody else. But there's a good chance that might not happen in 2020. But still, it'll be a new vehicle on the road that's going to have its own brand new assembly line and breaking a lot of records for the electric vehicle market, given this very easily could be the first electric semi-truck that is being used for, you know, obviously delivering vehicles and whatever else equipment SpaceX or Tesla may need to move around. That means there's a potential of going from, you know, 2018, 2019, where no new Tesla vehicles were delivered onto the actual streets, to when we go to 2020, they will double the number of production vehicles on the streets that you can actually see around, drastically changing the lineup of vehicles that you can order from their site get delivered to you, because right now they're kind of designated for electric sedans and of course the Model X crossover. But only 1 year from today, I think that'll be changing. We're going to see the Model Y crossover, so people who like those high performance SUVs will have a more affordable option to choose from. Sorry, no Falcon doors, but still, I think this car is going to have a ton of demand, not to mention one of the fastest cars on the planet and one of the first electric semi-trucks. Battery and Powertrain Investor Day, and how could I forget, end of 2020, there's a chance, I'll admit it's not a high chance, but end of 2020, we could be looking at some of the first initial rollouts for full self-driving on all the cars that are compatible with that. It may not be legal ready, some of the laws may be holding it up, but I imagine that 1 year from today, we're going to be a lot closer to complete autonomous driving. Not sure if it'll be level 5, maybe just level 4, but as long as we're in that phase of the car can drive itself under certain conditions, I'll be very much impressed, and I cannot wait to see what Tesla has in store for all of next year. So, what are you most excited to see from Tesla in 2020? Feel free to let me know what you're thinking down below, and thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have an excellent day. Take care.